get to perhaps a more practical discussion on investing in life-enhancing agriculture and water, talk a bit about what makes for a success story, but also to talk about the challenges confronting investors in this area and how we might address these challenges. So we have not really identified speakers for this session, as the idea is to have engagement from the participants and to share our experiences and to learn from each other. So I think I have already introduced myself briefly. Again, I'm Athena. I'm from the Philippines, and I work with the World Council of Churches. And I see that we have a couple of people. If you could introduce yourselves, that would be great. Perhaps if you could also turn your cameras on. I mean, no pressure. But if you could unmute yourselves and just introduce yourselves, that would be helpful. Thank you. So just checking in. Mason, are you in this group? And Priscilla? So just checking in to see if if Priscilla and Mason, are you in this group? Okay. So I'm not sure if there's actually if we actually have people in this session. So I'll wait a few minutes. Otherwise, I think we might just close this particular group if this is if there's no one actually in this room. Okay. Sorry, friends. Okay, so you don't see a video function. Oh, all right. In which case, thanks, Elvira. So Elvira is saying that you have to raise your hand. Okay. Perfect. That's great.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Excellent. So I think
Okay.
Nice.
Excellent. I think I can hear you guys now.
Okay, great.
So
Awesome.
grateful if you could introduce yourselves.
You want to go ahead first?
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm Priscilla. I'm actually speaking from Brazil right now. So, and I'm speaking through World Nations International. We are based in Indonesia, America, and also in Austria. We are working with fighting for vulnerable communities, rural communities actually, trying to give them access to education through agriculture and sustainable development and these poor areas in Indonesia, especially in Indonesia. We have this technical school to help them learn a little bit about agriculture and animal production, so they can improve their productions and understand more about agriculture and the ways to make this organic farming. And yeah, so we're having around 170 students. We are located in Nias Island. And yeah, basically we are trying to help them to improve food security and also through information and technical support and assistance, we're trying to give them a little bit about more information about agriculture and ways to produce. So basically, that's what we're doing.
Thanks, Priscilla. What about you, Mason? Can you share a little bit about what you do?
Hi, everyone. Athena and Priscilla and Alvera. I'm actually based in Singapore and run a social impact fund, and we provide expansion capital, or what we call catalytic capital, to social enterprises located in Southeast Asia. We are sector neutral in the sense that we look at projects as long as it helps to lift the vulnerable groups of people out of poverty. Basically, we are patient capital. Our fund life is about 10 years, and we only invest in post-revenue companies and enterprises. This is especially when many social enterprises fail, not because the business model is not good, but rather they have lack of access to traditional finance. Mm-hmm. And most of our investors are family offices. And now I like to use the word penetrate the traditional banking sectors, because they are looking to promote what I call ESG investment opportunities. And mm-hmm. Again, the investment ticket size that we look at are beyond the interest of the traditional VC and private equity. So our ticket size can range from $100,000 to $1 million. Yeah, so I shall stop here.
Oh, thank you. So thanks for those introductions. I think we at least come from different. We have different entry points into this sector. So I think this is great. Maybe just to kick off a bit of a discussion. I think it might be good to share a bit about the sector and our vision for it, and especially for those who are coming from the faith-based sector. I think for many, especially from countries in the global south, but not just in the global south, the agricultural sector is key. Is really key in the sense that investments in the rural areas are strongly linked to poverty reduction. But it's not just strongly linked to poverty reduction, it's also linked to improved health, for instance. And so some of the questions that we have to grapple with include, what kinds or forms of investments contribute to enriching rural livelihoods, enabling food security and sovereignty, and also the nurturing as well the health of our planet. And so, in a sense, one of the questions that we have to also address is what vision of agriculture should we be investing in? So, for some of us in the particularly in the churches, we have been working with the concept of life-enhancing agriculture. And this emerges from faith-based and rural communities that have been reflecting on the question of which food systems best support life. And it's this concept of life-enhancing agriculture is fluid. It's evolving. It's not meant to replace or compete, for instance, with other concepts such as food sovereignty, food security, and also the right to food. So it's meant to complement all these other visions in this area. So, of course, we are in a situation where we're in these current times. We are witnessing the abstraction of food and land from their physical forms. So food and land are increasingly being, turned into financial products and instruments for profit making. And this has had some adverse impacts, some including price volatility when it comes to basic food products, and also land grabs, for instance. So in a way, this concept of life-enhancing agriculture is kind of a response to kind of reclaim the ethical, the theological, and the spiritual dimensions of food and land in this current era, which is marked by financialization. So I would share a bit as well about this definition or not so much a definition, but to quote something from on this concept of life-giving agriculture. We said, for instance, that life-enhancing agriculture puts farmers or those who till the land and produce the food, their needs and livelihoods at the center. It ensures that all people, regardless of class, ethnicity, religion, eat sufficiently and adequately in order to live lives that are physically, mentally, and spiritually fulfilling, and therefore, in a way, realizing the human right to food and water. This is a kind of agriculture that produces a diversity of healthy and nutritious food, not just food, but also medicines and other products for the sustenance of human communities, in accordance with cultures and norms. Life-giving agriculture takes a holistic perspective that sees producers and consumers as part of one household. It promotes just and equitable economic relationships between and among producers, investors, traders, and consumers. It promotes democratic policymaking in food systems, drawing wisdom and learnings, including from indigenous peoples and farming communities that traditionally have lived in close relation with the land. And it nourishes and regenerates the soil, the water, and the air, and entire ecosystems. It comprehends that land, water, and air are essentially commons or gifts for the provisioning of all life that should not be privatized or commoditized for profit. And finally, life-giving agriculture is founded on the profound understanding that all of us, all beings, are interrelated in the web of life. So this is just to kind of like to set some sort of a vision. But I think the aim of this group discussion is to talk about maybe give some concrete examples and projects of life enhancing agriculture, of providing access to water and sanitation as a human right, and to talk about successes, but especially challenges, because I think in this area there's probably a lot of challenges, especially with climate change. And so we know that we need to incubate and to scale up some of these good examples of how to invest in these areas. And so, we hope that you can share a bit from your particular experiences and standpoints. And some of you have concrete experiences in terms of social impact investing in this area. And I think already, Priscilla, you also mentioned that you are engaged in organic farming projects. So grateful to hear from.
I would just like to share firstly, according to what you were saying, that how can something so basic like food, it can be such a challenge for rural communities and vulnerable communities, because eating, it's something that we do every day, and there's those agriculture that they don't have, not because they don't know how to do it, but because they need technical support and assistance. I'm a agronomist engineer, and I also work with I've been working with small farmers for like 3 years, and their challenges is the lack of information. So when you give them, in order to give this holistic perspective, you need to take care of them not only in agricultural ways, but you have to take care of this spiritual, physically, emotionally perspective, and also economic perspective. So what can we do? What are the challenges that you just mentioned? And we've been working this project where we can create a network of small scale farmers in Nias Island. What is this network about? This network is about make some meetings where they can get connected to one another, and also with the sustainable institution that we have in Nias, and then we can offer them the support. We've been working in Brazil for like many years with this networking, and this network will strengthen their community channels, and in order that the people around that will help them to have better agricultural practices and water sanitation, as you mentioned it as well. And this network, it's like a net that we're interconnected, and we can have this meeting, this gathering, and discuss about agriculture. Not like I know about this and I want you to do this because it's the best way. But no, not like this. But how do you do? And what is your traditional practices that you normally use? And then we can improve. So we are just helping them in this process to have their own way of thinking and how this works. Because in Indonesia, in this specific place that we've been working with those youth group, we go there, we teach them, and they understand, they make questions, but at the end, they still doing the same practices. And so we have this model, this example that in a parcel of the school, you practice agriculture in your way. And this particular part, that's like 1% of the whole land, I produce in my way. And then when they see that producing a little bit more, because of that, they can have the changing of perspective. And this is how it's the way that we've been working with them. But of course, there's a lack of investment, and we've been writing grant proposals and to fundraising. So this is challenging, and because of course that we're thinking about a cooperative model where, because of this network, we can create a cooperative. But you just can create a cooperative if they're connected, if they understand the process. So this is a long-term investment that we're doing, and because of we need volume to commercialize better and giving better prices, and we're trying to do, after this cooperative, a farms marketing, that they can have their own places to sell and to buy from other producers, and just because of this network. So it's a long term, and it's a way to decrease poverty and give them this sense of belonging, and they are changing, and they can give a better life to their families. And in those areas, they are living like with less than $2 a day. So it's a challenging, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Priscilla, for sharing your concrete experience of farming communities in Indonesia and Brazil, and the challenges that they face. I was wondering, Mason, if you could share a bit from the investment side, because as you have mentioned, but also as Priscilla has mentioned, this access to long-term investment is a key challenge. And I was wondering, Mason, if you could share about perhaps if you have some ideas how this can be addressed from an investment perspective.
Sure. I think I can relate how both Athena and Priscilla have been going through, because I personally was also involved in 2 projects in Indonesia. One of them was actually to build affordable sanitation projects in whole Indonesia, where I was working with a World Bank sanitation expert because there was a need to build 10 million toilets throughout Indonesia, affordable toilets. And, for us, we believe that is the basic dignity that each human being should have, their own bathroom, their own toilet. The question is, in the past, NGOs has been busy building common toilets. The problem is that nobody take care of the common toilets. They finish their business and walk away. And, sooner or later, the doors got stolen, the toilet seat got stolen, because nobody really cared. And now by going through that project, we work with the local development planning agency in Indonesia, try to roll out in the most rural area in East Java, what we call using a blended finance approach. It's a combination of grants and investors' capital to scale up the operation. Because our minimum investment is $100,000, and we are looking to try out a couple of cities to do that. What we have learned is that many NGOs did not realize that the bureaucracy can kill the cash flow of the business. Investors, when we manage, we're always very disciplined about cash flow management. But that is something that unfortunately bureaucrats do not understand that. Because when you don't get paid on time, you can't pay the contractors, you can't pay the raw materials, and so ultimately, we built about close to 1,000 toilets, and we decided there's too much work to be involved. And along the way, we don't say it's a loss, because on the social impact side, we empower about, like I said, we built over close to 1,000 toilets, and we give livelihood income to mini contractors, sanitation contractors in the community. So I think that is something that we learn, in the sense that, we probably should have been more forceful in pushing things done. The other project that I've been currently working on is with a group of beehive honey farmers in East Java. Before COVID-19, we learned that at least 60% of the farmers borrow from loan sharks, because they are unbankable. They're not even accessible to MFI, microfinance. So, and because of global climate change, which affect the harvest yield, and the farmers' harvesting is being affected. Yet they still need to feed the kids every day. They still need to send the kids to school. So the only source of money they can get from is from the loan sharks. So in Indonesia, East Java side, they borrow like $500 and they pay $50 in interest every month. So to me, that is a modern day slavery. So we come up with the beehive farming project is that, we pay off the debt of these farmers, and in return, we give the farmers like 30% estimated upfront of the harvest value, so that they can be incentivized to keep beehives. Do remember, beehives, honey farming is a passive income, meaning we require very little attention. You can continue with your other crops growing. And what more importantly is that we are teaching the farmers to become a sustainable organic way. So in the past, the farmers had to sell within 2 weeks after harvest, because they need the cash. But the honey is still very wet. They are not able to. So the normal proper process takes 6 weeks to dry. And because of that, they are able to export a small portion to Belgium.
Wow.
So that is the kind of story that will inspire us, from a financial, what we call it, like a money manager, to say, wow, this is the impact that we want to grow, And if I'm not mistaken, again, before COVID-19, Indonesia imported 70% of the honey consumption. So this is the gap that we find business opportunities. This is the gap that we try to identify strong offtake before we invest in any business. We don't invest in any business just because it's a great idea. We invest in a business that must be scalable. Imagine that, before COVID-19, we were already supporting like 250 farmers. And in fact, during the COVID-19, the honey consumption went up because people think it's an immunity health product against COVID-19. But of course, we cannot promote that. It helps to protect against COVID-19. But, during COVID-19, people take more vitamin C, eat more healthy food, and so that's one way of looking at it. But, again, the problem is the market is facing with a lot of fake honey, in the sense that people are adding syrup into it. And so there's this certain certification process or authentication process. We need to strengthen it. And of course, you need to do branding. We need to do online marketing, e-commerce, which the farmers have no idea at all. So which is why I agree with Athena that we need to use a very ecosystem approach. And so I'm part of the ecosystem whereby we have investor clubs who are willing to put in small money to try out, test the water. And we also have a group of so-called experts network, people who are marketing expert, website expert, engineering expert, who help the social entrepreneurs. Because these social entrepreneurs, while they may be passionate in what they're doing, they are not really financially savvy or knows everything. They need a lot of help, technical assistance, right? So we see more and more they need more help than before. I shall stop here. So these are my two projects experience that I can share with at the moment.
Can I say something before you? Mason, do you think that it's because the NGOs are used to just writing for grants in order to have this mindset of business model? I don't know if people are used to just receiving and not in this other way, because social entrepreneur is relatively new, at least in Brazil. And so people are just trying to, or NGOs are trying to change their models. And what we are seeing, what I've been seeing is that there's this mindset, especially because you're saying about this affordable sanitation, that the project you work with, that you put your effort, your energy in this project, and after that, people didn't use much as you were thinking they would. So making them this small farmers with the micro credits as their own actors, the principal actors in the process, maybe make them more, I don't know, have this owner sense or ownership, or I don't know, something like this. I just would like to hear more about you.
Sure. You raise a very good point. Actually, a very important part of value that we want to impart is ownership. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is not just in sanitation, but also education. So there is some advocacy going on, talk about free education. Whereas I'm more into what I call affordable education. Mm-hmm. So, when people receiving it as for free, they take it for granted. So when you ask people to pay a small portion of their salary to build their own toilets, do you think they will take care of their own toilets? They will.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mason. Priscilla, did you have any other questions? Or
I think his connection went out.
Oh, okay. That is true. Oh.
Mason,
are you back?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought I was talking. Hey, suddenly everybody disappeared. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
as I was saying, we need to teach them, the people on the ground, that how to own the assets, whether be it in education, be it in So I learned an important experience from my partner, who invested in a chain of low-cost school in Africa it's called Bridge International Academy. And, they built a chain of low-cost schools whereby the students have to pay like $3 US dollars or $5 US dollars, can't remember, every month to go to school. But in return, they get tablets, Kindle tablets, and the teachers are being paid on time. So the bottom line is, at the end, they did a comparison of the result between those in the public school and the private school. the student did, or when I say private school, I mean the chain of low-cost school. They did 100% much better in terms of their scores. It's because the parents know when they send their kids to school, they invest in their education. They really want to make sure that the kids are really receive proper education. So I think it's a principle of money. The money is there. The question is, how do you see the principle of money? Do you use it as, say, give it away for free? Or you say, okay, I want to use money to transform your lives. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's positive transformation we're looking at.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you so much. It's they receive a good education for $3 monthly, and it's something that they can pay, right? So it's something that I'm putting my life on it. I'm putting my money on it. So you give this honor, this sense of it's theirs, right?
Exactly.
It's good. Do you think we could talk more about this project that we have? Maybe you could give us some counseling and just put it in the right track, because we're trying to do this, what people want and how we can improve our ways to invest or to send grants or business proposals, but we need some help,
Sure. I'll be happy to, discuss further, after the call some other day.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm also working actively, try to influence foundation from giving traditional grants to be patient capital without expecting any return. Because, the problem is, it's a huge difference between giving grants and making investment. When you talk to the people who give grants, talk about investment, they freak out.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, you talk about, investment people accepting a lower return, they freak out. Or they say it's too high risk, I can't do it. So it's try to merge, do good and do well at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're not used to it, right, Mason? It's like I worked my whole life just
we
printing.
still have a few minutes. I don't know if Priscilla wants to share a bit more.
It's okay. Thank you, Tina. Oops. Something happened.
Yeah. Got 15 more minutes. Okay.
Okay.
You want me, Priscilla, can you see the chat group?
Yes, I can.
Maybe I give you my email address because we got disconnected.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's my email address.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is good.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a very interesting journey that some funders were saying, why should I just give away my money? I want to make sure people work hard for it. So I kind of counter propose right now an idea that, okay, let's give the money to the social entrepreneurs at market rate. Okay. But over time, if they meet or exceed the social impact metrics, we can forgive or waive the interest.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge now is, now we give away below market interest rate. You do not know whether social entrepreneurs meet the target. The pressure is on the fund managers, keep calling every week, how are you doing? And so I'd rather say, let's give the burden of proof upon the social entrepreneur, because you say you can deliver. And, and I'm prepared to waive the interest if you meet the target.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it easier for me to administer the fund, to disperse more funds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Good to know how.
Some of this creative innovation way of doing things.
Yeah, it's like a shift. You have to turn back and just think differently and try to do different. That's what we have to do. It's a mind shift. We have to do it, and I think because it's so hard to work with them, so we man, looks like it's a black hole sometimes. That you put, and nothing happens. So sometimes
Yes.
I think for the NGOs it's like something that, oh, now I've been working so long and so hard with them and
Yeah.
this way, now I have to change. And then could be a different changing, right? Could be have a different result. And but yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know that we can think differently, and you gave me a lot of insights. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mason.
Well, my pleasure. Anyway, I'll be speaking later on. I'll be sharing some of my projects later on. So hopefully you all can join and really maybe we can work together somewhat along some of the lines thinking that we have, and so hopefully that we can expand more people into bringing more people into this space.
Yeah.
Excellent. So friends, I think we've had a very rich discussion. I really appreciate the sharing from different sides, and and I think the discussion we've had here really kind of helped to bridge, the bridge social entrepreneurship and the investor side. So I think this was a really good discussion. And we will be sharing a summary of the key points coming out of this discussion. So it's not going to be lost, and it will be captured at a summary that will be given later at the end of towards the end of the day. So I would just like to really thank all of you for contributing. Even though we were a small group, we had, I think, a really good discussion. So thank you so much for this. And I think if there's no further comments, some of you can enjoy lunch. I'm based in Geneva, so.
Okay.
And I'm based in Brazil. Can you believe it? It's like 3 a.m. right now.
Breakfast for
My
Priscilla, it will
gosh.
be dinner, and for Mason, it's lunch.
Okay, guys.
So thank
Okay. Get
you.
some
Thank you,
sleep,
Tina.
Priscilla.
Thank you,
Okay.
That was
Mason.
excellent. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye
Stay in
bye.
touch.
See
Bye
ya.
bye.
Bye.